Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here bright and early for the start of the conference here at day 2 of the Gates Enterprise Tech Channel Summit for Southeast Asia. We know it's a very ambitious program. We know it's a busy day ahead, so thank you for joining us. We're going to have the conference here this morning, followed by an afternoon of one-on-one meetings and workshops. And then we're going to come together one more time this evening for a gala dinner and award ceremony. A reminder that the 2 workshops running this afternoon, 2:30 to 3:30, is going to be the BPE workshop. That's going to take place in the Arjuna room, which is a breakout room just along the corridor here. And then 3:30 to 4:30 is going to be the EG Innovations workshop. These are open enrollment, and if you are interested to join the interactive session, you are free to do so, starting at 2:30 and the second at 3:30. Okay, we're going to kick off with a conference this morning. We have a few keynote speakers. We wanted to give vendor executives an opportunity to take the stage and share some of their insight about the trends and directions in the marketplace from their perspective. Following the keynote presentations, we have a panel discussion. This is an opportunity to sound off, an opportunity for channel partners to make your voices heard. We have a number of distinguished channel voices joining us on stage, but we're also going to have audience Q&A. So this is very much meant to be a session not belonging strictly to those on the stage, but also all of us here in the conference. All right, I want to welcome to the stage our first presenter this morning. He is the Director of Global Alliances at Partnerships at Zoho. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would join me in welcoming, please, Bishan Singh. Bishan.
Am I audible? Yeah. Thank you. Very nice to speak to you all this morning. Really excited. Can we have my slide here, please? Great. Thanks. My name is Bishan Singh, and I lead the channel ecosystem at Zoho. I carry over 2 decades of experience. I have spent time not only on the channel ecosystem, but I also come with products and consulting background. So I can sometimes I feel I can appreciate things from channel partners' side, as well as what we as an OEM are looking at. So since I have around 15 minutes time, I'll quickly go through, talk about Zoho, what we do, how channel partners can work with Zoho. And any further questions, we are outside at booths B7, B8. Would be very happy to speak. Our team is there talking more in details with all of you there. About Zoho, how many of you had heard about Zoho before this event or before this morning? Okay. Very few hands. And I hope after this, our takeaway, we learn a little more about Zoho. That I see this as something I can share, our team can share about Zoho, what we do, what we stand for. See, we are a little different company. For us, it's equally important for what we stand for than what we do. So those also are some of the key takeaways I would talk about. So Zoho is a powerful suite of over 55 interconnected SaaS products that are changing the way our customers use software. And this also shows up by the numbers. There are over 90 million users globally that use Zoho. And we are talking about a SaaS applications company. This is not a consumer company. Apart from Microsoft, there wouldn't be many other companies that talk about users in that quantum. So this shows about the trust over 90 million users have put into Zoho. We have been in business for over 25 years. So we were established in 1996. We started off with a name AdvinNet. We focused on telecom software for a few years, but in 2002, you see one of our major categories, Manage Engine, is what came forth. Manage Engine focuses on the IT ops area of product, ITSM, ITAM. So there are close to 50 products in that category within Manage Engine, and many of you would have heard about Manage Engine. So the second category is Zoho.com that came about in 2005. And Zoho.com focuses on business software, softwares like CRM, finance, HRMS, workplace suite of products. So again, in Zoho.com, we would have over 55 different applications that cater to our customers. And then, two additional categories in 2021, Control and Trainer Central. So if we look at across board, Zoho fulfills almost every need of a company in terms of the software application need they would have. To tell you something, Zoho, we are over 12,000 employee company right now, and we use most of the softwares that I would be talking about, we use our own software. The idea is you do not use anything from outside. Idea is anything you take out to customers before that, if you can test it out internally for 12,000 employees, 15,000 employees, you at least give respect to your customers, try to make the software as mature as you possibly can. Now, who we are, as I said, it's important for us to convey this. So we are talking about privacy. Nowadays, everybody talks about privacy because the way things are shaping up. But for Zoho, it is not meeting any regulatory needs. For Zoho, it is an ethical issue. If you go look for videos, look for various talks on the subject, you would realize for us, it's an ethical issue. It's not a compliance that we need to meet. Zoho has been following privacy before it became fashionable or a compliance need. So from day one, the day the company was established, a decision was made that Zoho would never monetize the data of our customer. Data monetization would not happen. The only thing we would monetize is the subscription that we sell to our customer. So there would not be any third-party trackers on our website. So many things where Zoho would be unlike many other organizations that you would see out there. So for us, it is an ethical issue. Similarly, long-term view of our relationships. That's also what Zoho is built on. We are completely private. We have not taken a single penny out of the market, and that's taken us to grow a little longer. But that's a call we have taken, and that's what allows us to put some of these principles before profit for us. Yeah, so we say we would never monetize our customers' data. If we were in some other situations, maybe we would have to make some decisions where we don't have so much of control. So being private allows us to do that. So even though we are private, but we do have a public vision. We are very, very dedicated to our communities across world, wherever we are. So we put most of our profits into the R&D that you would see in the products that are evolving within Zoho. And of course, we are dedicated on a long-term basis to our customers, our partners, and an ecosystem around. These are some of the numbers about Zoho. Apart from the employees I talked about, we are present across globe, over in 150 plus countries. And it's a connected ecosystem where you're getting into Zoho. It is not these 55 applications are isolated. They're talking to each other. And we have APIs, we have mechanisms by which they can talk to any other system which is living within an enterprise or organization space. I'll try to be a little faster on my slides. I mean, some of these we can talk a little more in detail outside also. So this is the evolution I was talking about. We plow in, most of the profits we make into the company, into the R&D. Zoho is made from within. This is how our products have evolved. The Zoho.com, if you look at on the left side, probably not the best looking slide, but I hope it conveys the idea. It shows every year the new products that we have launched and the number of users, the way it has grown. So 2022, we were at 80 million users, and adding another 10 million users has taken us less than a year. So right now we are at 90 million users plus. So our CRM, some of our products, if you look at, were released in year 2005. So, yeah. This is our global presence in terms of our offices, our data centers, and this also is changing as we speak. In Africa, we have few more offices. In East Africa, we have an office in Brazil. So LATAM, we have decent presence. I mean, across geographies, so we have presence in Indonesia, Malaysia. So some of these do not show all updated information, but these are some of our key offices. And the red ones that you see are data centers. I mean, even on data centers, as our customer base evolves, we open our data center in the region, keeping in mind the needs in those regions. And these are some of the numbers. While you see we are growing across board, but a couple of regions, APAC and LATAM including, are our fastest growing regions. So I mean, some brands that trust us, I mean, I used quite a few from India because some of these customers, they know their brands, then things are being used. I haven't taken the list from APAC here. But if you look at many of these are global customers, have presence all across. Similarly, we have a strong list of customers across regions, no matter where we go. Yeah. And security, privacy, as I said, for us, it's not only lip service. It is a lot more than that. We'll be happy to talk more on that. So how does Zoho help our customers in their digital journey? We offer a flexibility that's almost unmatched in the industry to the customers. Customers have a choice. They could go for, I talked about 55 plus products. They have a choice. They design their own solution. They could pick one of Zoho applications. They fit into the other applications they have in their landscape. So they could do any of these. They could do a CRM, they could do an HRMS, they could do the finance application, or they could go for an email service. And they plug into their ecosystem of products. Or they say, no, I would rather transform my HR division using Zoho's products. So we would have packages covering a functional area. It could be the customer experience, right from your marketing, campaigns application, till the CRM and help desk to support it. They could say that, I want to change my entire functional area using Zoho's application. So they could go for that application suite on that area. Or customers are not using many applications. They are relatively smaller in size. They say, I think I can make use of all of these Zoho applications. So we also have a super suite of applications called Zoho One. The value in Zoho One is if you use Zoho One, you might not need many other applications. Your email, your workplace needs, your CRM, your HRMS, your finance needs, all of those are being met by Zoho One. So we give that flexibility to our customers, to our partners. So there is no limitation in terms of how you can start the digital transformation at a place that you are engaging. So that also provides flexibility to our partners. Yeah. So how does Zoho help our partners grow? So we want to grow together. We are a small company. Even though we crossed $1 billion of revenue last year, I think, living by the standards or living by the principles that we do, our growth is slower than what it should have been. We have so many categories where for each category it could have been a substantial company, but we want to grow together with our partners in a longer run. This is our existing ecosystem, over 2,000 partners across 75 countries. And then we have Zoho Marketplace where our partners, also build in their solutions they can put in there. And 1/3 of Zoho's revenue comes through our partners currently. If you look at partners add value across the range, right from, there are some partners who just resell our products, resell our services, to some partners who hugely involved, the GSIs or consulting partners, right from creating the case for digital transformation at an organization. They are involved across the range, and based on that, we have programs supporting all kinds of partners, including your GSIs, consulting partners, distributors, and some resellers. How are we unique? How is our program unique? As said, we get partners who bring the expertise on their side. We go above and beyond to support our partners in terms of capability building, and we have a dedicated channel for partner support. It doesn't go through our regular customer support, and the SLAs internally for our partner support would be a lot more stringent than what we have for our customer support. Okay. Journey, we can talk a little more on this when we meet, and there are certifications, trainings available. I'm being cognizant of time as well. So we have people, processes, products, tools to enable the entire partner journey. We'll be happy to talk more on, we have dedicated partner store, partner portal, where you have all the sales marketing needs of a partner that you would actually need to take the product or product of your choice to market, to having enough free licenses that you can use to build capabilities, create demos for the customers. Okay. And quick few seconds on the types of services that partners can engage customers on. As I said, basically I see services partners can provide, right from your managed services to transformation services. Zoho products can be part of both of these engagement models with your customers. And these are some of our events. We have annual Inspire events dedicated to our partners and partner meetups across board, and a list of our partners across the globe that currently work. Just quickly would play a few seconds of videos from our...
Hi, my name is Lucy Beck. I'm the Managing Director of A to Z Cloud. We're a Zoho partner. We've been a Zoho partner since 20...
So just a partner from UK, she has been with us for over 12 years. So you would see our partners also would believe in that long-term view that we are talking about. Most have been with us for over 10 years, and that's a journey. And would be happy to, said I have already eaten up all my time, happy to speak with any of you at B7, B8 outside, and be a pleasure to talk more on what we could do together. Thank you so much, and look forward.
Vishan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know 15 minutes is not a lot of time to cover a lot of ground, but you and the team are ready and able to engage with anyone who would like to dig a little bit deeper in some of this content and learn more about Zoho. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presenter and the team are familiar faces here at Gates. They were with us last year, so would like to welcome them back to the event and welcome him back to the stage. There we go. So join me in welcoming back, if you would please, the founder and CEO of RANSnet, ladies and gentlemen, Randy Ran. Randy.
That picture was 10 years ago, and luckily it still looks the same. Thank you very much. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank Gates for organizing this event so that we can all come together to learn from each other and also share how our products and services can add value to our business and how we can work together to win more customers. I was a network engineer 20 years ago. After working 10 years in the networking industry, I loved routers and switches and doing installation. But all the products I have used in the past were from other parts of the world. So my aspiration was to create something of our own, something that is Singapore or ASEAN, something that is for this part of the world. So we don't really have a huge portfolio like Zoho. There's a lot of products, which is very good. We are very, very focused on networking, particularly on the 5G with SD-WAN and Wi-Fi. So we target a very specific group of customers, and we work with very targeted partners as well. So I think many of you are here, and we see a lot of synergies that we can work together. And we have the booth there. We have our team. We have a team in Indonesia as well. So, we are always there to, waiting for you to come. So RANSnet is a 100% Singapore company owned by Singaporean. We have a sizable, very good support team here in Indonesia as well. So as you can see, Indonesia is a very key focus market for us. So before we dive into the details, I'll probably just show a video of some of the projects that we have done so that you can relate to you and how you can replicate the same success to your market and to your customers. So can we play the video, please? So this was the first, industry's first 5G SD-WAN router launched 2 to 3 years ago. So when we were the first Singapore IMDA type approved enterprise grade 5G router that was launched during the COVID time. And only after 2 years later, some of the really big brands start to launch their own 5G SD-WAN router. So we are, until today, we are still the leader in 5G SD-WAN product. And as you can see, there was a sub-6 router. You can already have 1 gig download. And this is a MM-Wave. Until today, we are still the only enterprise-grade 5G MM-Wave router. You can see the download speed can reach up to 2 gigabit per second throughput. And this has been deployed in real environment like a Micron, the chip maker, MasterCard, and there's a few other very big semiconductor brands. And this is the IBM research lab for Industrial 4.0 using 5G, using our 5G SD-WAN router. This is one of the largest EV manufacturer in Singapore, electrical vehicle. All the robotics are using our 5G routers to transport all the equipment within the Industrial 4.0 factory. And this is a picture of how the router is being installed. Autonomous driving, using our 5G router to remotely drive the cars while the driver is far in the lab. And security patrol, using 5G to connect to the CCTV for AI and security. Maritime robot as well, digital concierge, smart city using smart lamp pole embedded with 4G and 5G. And this is a VTM, video teller machine. It's a next generation of ATM for banks. And a smart locker for contactless delivery. So there's a lot other use case we have gone through. We probably, and this is not very clear, and on top of what we do in the technology space, we also do charity. We operate a charity farm. Unfortunately, this picture is not very clear when it is zoomed out. So we operate a charity farm to, all the proceeds from the charity farm is being donated to the needy family. Although Singapore is a well-off society, but there are always needy people in our world. So hopefully we can all, do the same to contribute back to our society. Thank you for that video. So, so we have shared what we do. So basically, we are there. We focus on, again, on very specifically on using 4G and 5G to empower our certain targeted customer segments, like retail chains, to connect customers with massive amount of remote branches, like in Singapore, all the prominent brands that you can name off. Most of them are our customers, like Club 21, KFC, Burger King, many other retail giants, and then on top of then many IoT providers using 4G and 5G as backhaul. So we help customers to save money, basically, to remove the fixed line, to have that efficiency improvement because of the mobility and because of the ease of management, and because of the high availability. We can work together with fixed line and wireless so that we can put together to achieve the highest availability or business uptime. We were featured on Gartner Voice of the Customer for SD-WAN and in the strong performance quadrant, and we are probably the only Asian vendor, I would say, featured on the Gartner report so far. And there's a lot of retail customers. Club 21 is one of the very premium retail chains in Singapore, and Hermes and Jinyi, all those are very large regional retail chains. So because last time I overrun, so I'm just going a little bit faster to make sure I'm still within the time. So there's, we cover a range of customers, verticals, from government, hospitality, retail, F&B, and smart city. Despite we only do that particular range of solutions, but there's literally, as you can see, a lot of customers can potentially use our products. And the ones that you saw just now are from this range of products that are focusing on 4G and 5G, from the very low end for very little data requirements, up to all the way to 5G millimeter wave. Until today, our 5G millimeter wave router is probably still the only enterprise-grade 5G millimeter wave router available. So one of the very key difference between although I keep on using the words router, is because probably easier to relate to a lot of us. But actually, it's far more than being a router. As you are already aware, SD-WAN, we have the full SD-WAN capability. We have the end-to-end orchestrator to automate the configuration for the routers, to provide security and firewall all into one end-to-end solution. So all this combined together with our strength in the 4G and 5G to deliver a wireless WAN kind of solution to our target customers. And we are in the next 3 to 6 months, we are about to launch another high-end millimeter wave router using Qualcomm X65. So that supports the mmWave with NRDC carrier aggregation across different LTE, sub-6, mmWave, and many bands together to deliver extremely high throughput over 5G. So we don't stop, and again, we want to have the, we are basically engineers. We have been developing products, and we have rely on channels, rely on partners to work together, to bring our products to the market so that customers can benefit from us. We don't know how to sell. We only know how to make products. And in Singapore, we have been productized by two of the largest telco in Singapore. So there's particularly the service provider like our products because not only the capability but also the manageability. We have the central multi-tenancy orchestration platform to be able to massively manage hundreds and thousands of customers' devices. Then we also work with distributors and SI, but I have to be honest, SI probably consists a smaller percentage of our overall revenue. Mostly is from service provider. So if you already have established relationship with the service provider, we are extremely keen to work with you. We have success stories with partners who were very focused on the service provider. When we started working with them, they have only like 6 engineers. So after 3 years later, they have 120 people and they buy 2 office buildings. So you can see there is a huge opportunity for both of us to succeed together. So again, we mentioned that we deliver an end-to-end solution. So it's not a point product. It's not a router, okay, or it's not a hardware. It's actually an end-to-end solution. So the left side you're saying is the branch router that connects to 4G, 5G, or fixed line. There's a range of wireless technology that we can support. We can even support Wi-Fi as WAN, or you can connect to multiple fixed line, or you can use them together for bonding or failover. Then on the application side, we have the gateway to terminate all the SD-WAN tunnel, and there's firewall to protect your critical applications. And the gateway can be a hardware appliance, or it can be a VM to sit on your AWS or Azure cloud. So on the gateway side, we support hardware appliance and virtual appliance. And on the remote side, we have that embedded appliance dedicated and industrial grade that you can put into oil rigs. We have deployments on the oil rigs in Lampo, in the video as you saw just now in all the robotics. Like the EV factory in Singapore, I think you can already, some of you already know, it's probably the only EV factory in Singapore, the largest one in this part of the world. So hundreds and hundreds of robotics running 24 hours using our router, and we don't have a single failure so far. And customers are extremely happy with that. So then we have that central orchestration platform. It's a software multi-tenanted central dashboard that allows you to auto-establish SD-WAN tunnel. So SD-WAN is complex, right? It's really complex. There's a lot of underlying technologies. But using our orchestrator, you don't really have to deep dive into those technicalities. Based on your business objectives, you want to connect this site using what policy, then you just auto-assign this configuration. Then within seconds or minutes, the network will be up and running. So all this, the mFusion, the orchestrator, can be hardware appliance, or it can be software, a VM, or it can be, we host our own cloud platform for the orchestrator, multi-tenanted, so our customers can use our orchestrator as well. So for example, if you buy our hardware, as long as the hardware is within warranty support, you are automatically entitled to use our orchestrator to monitor and manage your operations. And a little bit more details on our hardware. Again, on top of the software, as we talk about the orchestrator, the SD-WAN software, the hardware is also designed by us and optimized particularly for wireless WAN. 4G or 5G, we use dedicated modem or module attached to the main board to deliver reliable wireless performance for 4G and 5G. And even if, even if you don't have 5G network yet, for example, if you use our 5G router with a 4G SIM card, we can do carrier aggregation, for example, to, you know, in the older days, there's WAN bonding or SIM card bonding. You put in multiple SIM cards, let's say 4 SIM cards, to aggregate together to get higher speed. But actually, if the SIM card itself is really slow, for example, in a very congested shopping mall, the wireless spectrum is really congested. Each SIM card you can only get, let's say 10 meg. It's really very high. But then, all putting together, you probably get 40 meg. So then, we just need one SIM card, because if that spectrum is, or rather that band is congested already, we switch to, most carrier have multiple band for the 4G or 5G. Then we automatically, even use the same SIM card, we switch to other bands. And we use other spare band that is not being used by majority of the public. And you will already have 80 meg, for example, at least 60 to 80 meg. Or if all the bands are not congested, we aggregate together. So this has been proven in many, many other deployments in Singapore. And even like some of the, for example, 7-Eleven stores in MRT train station. And then 4G coverage was bad, and it was extremely congested during, you know, peak hours, after office hours, everybody waiting in the train. So you look at the signal is actually full bar, but the bandwidth is very low because the spectrum is congested. So we will switch to use other bands that are not used, because most of the devices automatically connect to that particular band. Sorry, that was a little bit more too much details as an engineer. So if you need to know more, please just drop by to our booth. We have our engineers there to explain the details to you as well. Then we also support security. We have a category-based filtering in the cloud, and we can also do stateful firewall, FQDN filtering within our devices. Another very unique or interesting feature is Wi-Fi monetization. This was what we started many years ago when we initially started. We want to help customers to monetize free Wi-Fi by using a captive portal and user engagement, login options, and also we have actually developed our own cloud ads manager, multi-tenanted, that allows you to push and schedule advertisement, either video or banner over Wi-Fi to your targeted customers. Different time of day, you have different ads. You just need to upload one time. The system will automatically rotate it for you. And this is extremely useful for retail F&B net customers who already invest into a high-speed broadband, for example, and also SD-WAN. So you have a single of a router that does SD-WAN for you to leverage on your high-speed broadband to provide secure access for your critical internal applications. Then you can slice part of the bandwidth for your guest Wi-Fi. Then you can monetize the Wi-Fi, the guest Wi-Fi, by engaging with your end customers through advertisement or your own banners. So with this, your infrastructure is no longer a cost center. It becomes a revenue-generating platform. And also when you are, as a solution partner or service provider, when you offer the solution to the end customer, the perception of the solution changes, because in the past they see this as a cost, now they see this as an investment, because there's potential, even as an infrastructure, there's potential for them to have additional outcome. Okay, so the Enfusion dashboard, a little bit more details, provides a life cycle for network operators. Start from zero-touch provisioning to managing of the configurations and SD-WAN policy settings, very complex configurations. And you can monitor the end-to-end network operating status and performance, device operating status, network availability. We also have the option to monitor your internal devices behind our router. That means we can provide you a holistic view of your entire infrastructure, not just for our Randstad product, but also for your own other IT devices. For example, your IoT sensors and even switches and printers and other internal critical devices. Then you can send alerts for faults or any potential, based on threshold alert, to preempt you with some potential faults. So all this come together again, as part of the orchestrator at no additional cost, in fact, as long as the hardware is within the warranty. So we don't really charge for license. We don't really, all these features, even product feature or orchestrator feature, there's no license cost. It's really just a warranty, which everybody will buy anyway. So that means all this will come together with it. This is a snapshot of the dashboard that provides you a holistic view on a map view or topology view or device view or item view. You can drill into a particular device, into a particular item of the device and historical utilization of the device. So that gives you a lot of visibility on what's happening in your network. So very last slide. So where do we position ourselves as a local company? We focus very much on 5G and 4G, wireless WAN, and offers very costly, it's not dirt cheap, but it's very cost-effective, value for money. And we have a local support team in Indonesia, and our R&D team is in Singapore. So all within hours, if there's a need, we are at your doorstep. And we support Wi-Fi monetization to empower customers to do more out of the infrastructure. So compare with other MNCs or other overseas, so we are very much focused on the east side, and the other side is on the west side. So on the east side, these are the use case that we talk about, the target customers. Okay, that's all. Do I have, how many more minutes? We still have time, or no more time? Okay. So I will not dive into the product details. Then we are there at the booth, so you are welcome to drop by anytime. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Have a good day.
Randy, thank you. Thank you, Randy. I know 15 minutes is never enough time, particularly for an engineer to go through all of their product, service, and solutions. But you and the team are ready and willing to take on any more questions and conversations that channel partners here might have. Up next, I want to welcome to the stage our next keynote presenter. He is the Regional Director for ASEAN, Korea, and Australia, New Zealand at MySQL. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andre Lim. Andre.
Selamat siang, good morning, 早上好, Xin Chào, and Sawadee Okay, nice and good morning to every one of you. Thank you for having me here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre, and I'm based in Malaysia. I'm currently running ASEAN, ANZs, and around the regions. So today my topic is just to share with you the number one most used and most bought MySQL open source database in the world. Okay, let me just talk about it. Now, as you can see, this is a ranking by DB Engine, which basically compares close to 400 over databases throughout the world. And it is based on popularity, okay? How many projects was announced, how many jobs about MySQL or any database, who is using it, in the forum, what are they talking about, everything. It's very important. This is independent research. And this chart is updated every month. It basically, and you notice that, hey, MySQL is part of Oracle. But why we are ranked number 2? To be frank. Hello, to be frank. 5 years ago, we were ranked number 4. Now we are number 2. And very soon we'll be number 1. Why? Because the adoption of open source database is getting more and more popular. You can go into banks, governments, big enterprises, fintech technologies, embedded ISVs, they're all talking about open source database. Why? Because open source database can do 95% or more of what the traditional database can do. Therefore, why should I pay more? Get my point? So that's the trend. And I really encourage all of you to explore into how to partnership with us. So let's talk about the next few things. Now, these are all the customers, some of the customers. In fact, Netflix, Uber, HBO, Amazon, Tesla. I mean, everyone knows about Tesla, right? Okay, Elon Musk's first car, which is PayPal, it is running on MySQL. Okay, and how they transfer billions. We are talking about 200 billions within seconds. 10 years ago, from US to Malaysia, within seconds. Comparing with traditional banks that you have to do SWIFT transfer that takes you 7 days or more. You know, it's all powered by MySQL. Tesla, the factory itself, and inside the car, it's running MySQL. Okay? Elon Musk always say, hey, we are not selling car. We are selling technology. Okay? And that's how we are glad that we are part of the technology stacks that they are using to service their customers. Now, moving on. So, your understanding, everyone's understanding, oh, I know about MySQL. Isn't MySQL a toy? Isn't it free? Isn't it available to use everywhere? Yes, we have MySQL Community Edition, which is free. Okay? You're free to use, you can use anywhere you want, and we thank you for using it. Okay? Now, but the thing here is, the free thing, MySQL Community Edition, it has certain limitation. Number one, you can't profit from it. As a partner, you can't profit on it. You can't use it to sell to your customer. Why? It doesn't have, number one, because of the open source community agreement. Number two, its lack of tech support and all the enterprise features that you need. For example, security. For example, clustering. For example, monitoring, because these are the parts that you need for any customers to run their business, correct? They have compliance, audit, all these things to meet, legal consequences. So these are the things that you need. So these are the 4 commercial editions and cloud services that we offer, okay? Because why? Customers that's using community came to us and say, MySQL, why don't you combine and develop all these enterprise features and offer us as a services so that it's a one-stop center, so that it's a single pane of glass, and we don't need to worry about security and don't need to get third-party freewares or open source software that probably can give me more problem or more technical issues. So we decided that, okay, based on the community edition, and what we do is our engineering actually develops 100% of all the enterprise features and incorporate into the enterprise version. So that's a single stop. So comparing us with any other open source database that you may hear of, like MariaDB, Percona, etc., they are based on MySQL Community. They take our MySQL Community Edition, they develop some of the features, but the rest of the features, they get it from open source and third party, which is good. But they can't commit on the roadmap because they incorporate third party tools in there. But for us, it's 100%. So let me just introduce a few. Standard edition is the basic edition, which mostly is used for ISV and OEM purpose. For example, you have a post system, you have a box that in the bank that you press a button that you want to get a queue slip, that doesn't need security and is simple and easy, no reporting needed. Yeah, they bundle it with standard edition. Okay? Because there's no enterprise features needed. Enterprise edition, number 2, we develop 100% of all the enterprise features. It is not open source tool, it's not freeware, it is not from third party. Oracle MySQL is 100% responsible for it, and we 100% support it, maintain it, patch it, hotfix it, and have a roadmap. That's very important. If you're a bank, would you want to trust an open source database that uses third-party freeware tool? No way. It's a big security hole and big worries. That's why they trust on us, and they subscribe to MySQL on-prem or cloud license to do that. Now, on the third part, which is Carrier Grade Edition, Carrier Grade Edition has all the features of Enterprise Edition, but on top of it, we add on we call it an in-memory database. And this in-memory database is used for high millions of transaction throughput database. For example, a single sign-on, payment gateway, web portals that have very super high traffics, data switching, radius servers. These are specific use. High throughput database clusters. And lastly, we also offer MySQL database services and HeatWave available on Oracle Cloud, which I will talk more. Don't need to procure more services, and that's how you have a winning angle to go into the customer side, to swap, to change, to sell your solution. Okay? Let's move on. Now, MySQL Enterprise Edition. I'm not going to bog you down with all the technicalities, everything. But what I'm trying to say here is MySQL Enterprise Edition does not have add-ons or optional module that you need to pay separately. All these features that you see on the screen are not available in Community Edition. It does not come with Community Edition. And when a customer subscribes to our services, it comes with all these features free included, plus support. Okay? Therefore, from there, it is up to the customers whether they want to use it or switch on. Okay? Now, on top of that, let me just introduce you to MySQL database services. This is available only on Oracle Cloud. Okay? Oracle Cloud is the only database services, the only public cloud in the world that offers MySQL Enterprise Edition. If you're talking about AWS, Google, Alibaba, all the public clouds, compulsory, they will have database services for MySQL, but it is based on Community Edition. And they charge you. It's not free, they charge you. But they charge you for a MySQL Community Edition database without all the database features, enterprise features. Where else what we do is we offer you MySQL database services on Oracle Cloud, and it is based on Enterprise Edition, which we incorporate all these features behind. Security, clustering, monitoring, backup, blah, blah, blah. Everything is all included. And we are the only, Oracle Cloud is the only one that offers that. Now, on top of that, we would like to introduce you to HeatWave. HeatWave is the only cloud services from MySQL that has integrated query accelerator features. I'll give you an example. You have a customer that's running MySQL on-prem here. And you have, so what they can do is they can actually replicate using replicate, no ETL. Okay? I'm sure a lot of you are aware about it. I need to do ETL, I need to transfer my data periodically, hourly, and that's a delay, correct? But with these services, you can actually replicate within the database, online to our cloud, create a data lake, and we will accelerate the query up to thousands times faster. Okay? Ever heard of, right? Imagine an on-prem database administrator or user. Click on the query, a complex query, which usually, if I want to do analytic, I want to check, oh, today what's stock? Oh, from all of my outlet worldwide, what sells number one? What sells? Number 2. What kind of stocks should I replenish? All these are analytics. All these are queries. And what do you need to do? It needs to digest and run a long query to come up a result. If the database is slow, or the services is slow, it could take hours or days to come up a result. So your decision is wasted. You have to wait. But what if I tell you with this, you can actually click on-prem, and the query was actually accelerated in the cloud, and it will pump it back, and it's transparent to you. That's fantastic, you know. That's something that you can apply to not only to MySQL, but you can use it for other databases as well. Because 1 week ago, we just announced that we launched MySQL HeatWave Lakehouse. Lakehouse means data lake and data warehouse capability combined together, plus machine learning. All in, no extra price included. You only need to have MySQL on-prem, and the MySQL can be on-prem, can be on AWS, can be on Azure, which they are also using database service on MySQL, but community, right? And replicate it into this HeatWave to accelerate your query. Yeah, sorry. So there's something unknown, unheard. Just go online or come to our booth to understand more, and we can share with you how you can leverage it to help your customers, plus have more new opportunities. Okay? Move on. Now, this is the ROI. If you have been developing your data, your application, your solutions, or supplying your solutions to your customers, look into MySQL. Look into MySQL. Ask your customers, are you using community version? Are you looking at open source database? Do you have any preference of database? And you'll be surprised. Most likely they are using community version, or most likely they are open to open source database because they have been educated and they are open to open source database. Now, look at the ROI. If you really compare, the database costs 90% or more cheaper compared to any competitors. I'm talking about any traditional database competitors. We will be, and sure, be 90% cheaper than them because of our unique licensing. We don't license by per core. We do not license by per CPU. We license by per server, per guest VM. So if you are doing development, think about it. Currently, you are open. Oh, I sell to any customers, and the customer can tell me I want it to be on database A, database B, database C, and you have to do testing. It needs to run on their existing environment and servers. When you want to schedule shutdown, you have to tell them and schedule because it's running on existing database. Is it a good thing to do? No. If you have your own development, own application, own IP that you sell one to many, we do have an ISV program. And you should look into us to, number one, reduce the cost. Your job is not to, if you are an ISV, an OEM, an application vendor a development house, your job is not to sell database. Your job is to sell your own solution, your own application. What if I can be friction of the cost and you bundle it and make it and you propose to your customer, it's the customer, when you buy my solution, it comes with the database. That's the only choice you have, and it is in my server. What does it mean? You have a cost advantage compare your competitors, correct? Cheaper, because you choose a cheaper database. Number two, it is in your system. Number three, your development costs will drop. Why? Garbage in, garbage out. Product database is affordable. Development will be affordable. If you let your developer on different database, it is more cost to you. Your developers have to learn different language, different thing. Development cycle takes longer. Your tech support need to learn. and there is on-site cost, everything. Don't do that. We actually proposed to a customer, an ISV partner, he switched it, and imagine the sales cycle, the usual sales cycle actually turned down from 9 to 16 months, reduced to 4 months. They were surprised. It made their life so easy, and it cut their cost by 60%. Across, not only on database, but operation, development, support, service, hardware. That's my value to you. Okay, let's talk about it later on. Now, partner opportunities, like I say, we have all these 3 services, on-prem license, cloud, and also HeatWave, which can combine all these things together. So come to my booth. I'm not going to bog you down about how we engage, how we do everything. I think it's pretty similar. But if you see there's an opportunity and you would like to explore, please visit our booth and we can talk more. Okay? Now, the 3 years perspective is, well, we have subscription license, which means that every year they have to renew, okay, in order to continue use the enterprise features. And subscription license and our business model is 100% channel model. We don't sell direct to customers. We work with partner 100%. Okay? That's the key word. And all these things will be supported together. And if you are keen to explore about HeatWave, this is my last slide. You can sign on. You know, you get 300 free credits, and you can use it and test it out. Okay? And I'll end my session. Thank you so much.
Andre, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, at this point, we're going to switch gears and switch up a little bit the furniture and the setup here on the stage as we prepare for the panel discussion. One more time, a thank you to all of our keynote presenters. We appreciate you sharing your insight and experience with us. We wanted to do the same with the panel discussion. This is an opportunity to bring forward some of, let me get out of the way here, bring forward some of the top voices in the industry. They are different perspectives. They are vendors, they are channel partners, they are from different markets across the region. We think this is a great opportunity to hear from some of those perspectives and come together and make decisions and a common understanding as an industry. I think we recognize more and more that there is this new imperative, there is an urgency for our generation around sustainability, around changing our models of production and consumption. Whether we talk about green tech, whether we talk about sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials to extend their life, it's all about this idea that we need to realign to a more circular economy. And that requires steps both big and small. Here at Gates Summit, we take small steps. For example, we will be recycling the badges tonight. When you come to the gala dinner, we will have a drop box, and we will ask you to take off those badges, and we will reuse them. So that's a small initiative we can do, and some are larger. And one of them is this panel discussion that we've organized this morning. We've given the mandate to all of our speakers to share their insight and to share their opinions about how we can do more as individuals, as an industry, as a marketplace, to support this idea of sustainability. So I'm going to bring the speakers on stage in rapid order. I'm going to ask everyone, if you would please, to hold your applause until we get everyone settled on the stage. I'm going to bring them up in no particular order, and I'm going to ask them to do their own proper introductions when they join us up here. So in the second chair, if I can ask Shankar Narayan, from head of APAC at Gupshup. Shankar, if you'll join us here in the second position. Can I ask the managing director at SIS Thailand, Kum Somchai, if you would do us the honor of taking the third position here on the stage. I would like to ask the CEO of WSI Philippines, Juan Chua, if you would take the fourth position here on the stage. I would like to ask the President Director of KDDI Indonesia, Yoshida-san, if you would join us up here on the stage. And if I can ask Andre Lim, who is just with us, the Regional Director for ASEAN, Korea, and ANZ for MySQL, if you would join us back here on the stage. And among the channel partners, last but not least, the Vice President of IDC Vietnam, Ms. Tu, if you would join us in the center position here. Our anchor and our moderator is a gentleman who, if I were to do the introduction, would probably take 15 minutes. He wears many hats, but today I think it's most appropriate to introduce him as the chair of the IT Standards Committee in Singapore, Harish Pillay. Welcome to you. Okay, just before we get started, the ground rules. Basically, there are none. You've been told that there are no prepared remarks, there's no script, there's no PowerPoint presentation. This is an opportunity to discuss the business that you live and breathe every day. And we're asking you to share your insights and your experience around this topic of circular economy. I will hand it over to Harish, who will facilitate, who's discussed in broad terms with the panel here, but we also want to give an opportunity for channel partners and others in the room to ask questions or to share their own opinions. Simply raise your hand at some point during the panel discussion and we will bring the microphone to you. Okay? So without further delay, I would like to introduce one more time and ask for a round of applause and a big thank you for joining us. This is our panel discussion here at Gate Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody, and I'm very pleased to see the hall is full. That makes it so much better, right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So I'm very pleased to be able to be the moderator for this session, and I hope you know what we're going to be talking about. The title for this session is Growing Role of Tech in the Circular Economy. And we have in the panel today a range of different organizations and different individuals with different experiences in the tech industry, and how collectively we could contribute to understanding what circular economy is and how we can make sure that it actually works. Now, what I would like to do before we get everybody to say something, I want to hear from you first. I have a question for all of you. Maybe if you can bring the house lights up a little bit so that I can see. The lights for the house lights, get a little bit more so I can see a little bit. I got a question for you. You got to do some work right now. Very simple. How many of you have a mobile phone? Put up your hands. I want to see who doesn't have one. Okay, I don't see anybody without having a mobile phone. Okay, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. How many of you have only one phone? How many of you have 2 phones? How many of you have 3? How many of you got 4? How many of you got 5? Is there anybody with 5? I don't see any. Oh, no, is there one hand there? No, that's not a hand. Okay, now those of you who got more than one phone, what is the second phone being used for? What about the third phone that you may be having? Are they sitting inside a drawer somewhere? Because you had to get a new phone? Because the telco enticed you to get a new device? So what is happening to those phones? It's sitting inside a drawer, it's gathering dust, you don't use it. That's a problem we have that you face yourself when you open a drawer and say, why am I having so many phones inside a drawer? What am I going to do with this? Can you recycle these phones? So this is the start of the conversation about the circular economy. So with that, keep that in mind, the fact that you have so many phones sitting inside your drawer. I know some of you didn't admit to it, but that's okay. I know I have about 6 phones sitting inside a drawer. It goes from the very first phone that I ever had. It was a Motorola flip phone. I'm keeping it because I want to keep it. I'm not going to recycle that. So that may be a reason why you have it as well. But I think the important thing here is we need to see how can we take the components inside there and see what we can do with it for the future. So with that, let me then start introducing each of the panelists. So on my, what I will do is each of you introduce yourself, say where you're from, which country you're from, and what is your statement as far as the circular economy is concerned, and then we pick it up from there. Okay, so I'll start from my
First
extreme.
thing I
Yeah.
want to add to the phone thing, because I got about 10 phones.
Oh, you got off 10 phones.
And
Okay.
the value of the older phone. So I have this iPhone 1, which is a 16-year-old.
Still inside the box?
Yeah, it's not in the box. I mean, I have the box. But I just recently came to know that there was a lady who didn't open the box, sold that phone for $63,000. So it seems that there is value for an old phone if you don't open the phone.
As long as you keep it inside the box.
Yeah, so you don't recycle it. It can't be used. I tried. Just a quick introduction on myself. My name is Shankar. I head APAC for GupShop. I've been a startup entrepreneur all my life. My previous startup was an AI company, conversational AI company, which got acquired by GupShop. So we work in conversation messaging space. In fact, we are moving a lot of data points on WhatsApp specifically, and we are seeing a high growth rate on WhatsApp and the usage of WhatsApp. People are moving from SMS to WhatsApp. So we end up in that technology, and of course we do a lot of AI stuff with GPT-3. We're seeing a lot of savings which some of our customers do have on moving to AI. I'll talk more about it.
Okay.
How do I see for the circular economy? You want to make one statement? I guess if once we start valuing environment and stop wastage, we would have a better throughput in the coming years in the circular economy. I think it's more of the if you have create some kind of value for not wasting and reusing, I think that'll change the whole.
All right, thank you. Kun Somchai?
Yes, สวัสดีครับ สมชัย from Thailand. I co-found SAS Distribution since 1992. So right now, I think we have around 1,000 staff. We work with around 170 vendors, and we serve around now 10,000 resellers in Thailand. So for the phone, I think I have more than 10 as well, because I'm selling phone. So whenever the vendor, they come out with a new model, they pass to me. And in the past, I keep it, But now I realize that's okay. So I better distribute to every people surrounding me. Will get a very new phone, because I hate to change phone for whatever reason. So I use phone for probably 3 or 4 years. So whenever I have a new phone, just give it away. Yeah. For the topic that we are about to discuss, I think I will more emphasize on the climate changing, and in the how we want to use the energy more effectively. Yeah, that will be my focus for this.
Thank you. Kate?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Kate. I'm VP of IDC Group. We were established since 1992, and we are one of the top 5 ICT distributors in Vietnam. So it's very nice to see all of you today. About circular economy, I think it's a very good concept, and our government actually talked about it for over the last 5 years a lot. But actually to see the action in reality, especially that we are working in a very heavily hardware industry, I think it's very good, and it's very important to look at it and to be very serious about what to do with it in the next 5 years. I know that the EU Commission actually puts for some of the CSR practice into reality from 2024 for some of the medium and large enterprise to actually have to perform to a certain practice in CSR into the environment protections and everything. So I think it's very important for us in Asia to catch up with it and to work with the policy to be really in practice. Thank you.
Thank you. Juan?
Good morning. I'm Juan Chua. I'm the president of WSI. We're the oldest IT distributor in the Philippines. We started business in 1982. For me, circular economy is really a must, not just for the survival of humankind and planet Earth. It's actually very good for business. I can already see that quite a few of the big enterprises in the Philippines are already asking about sustainability program that our resellers have in their supplier accreditation. So as early as, it's not a must now, but it's something that they want to know. It might become a prerequisite for accreditation in the future, so it's really good for all of us to have programs in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Juan. Our next panelist, Yoshida-san.
Yeah, good morning all. Selamat pagi semuanya. I came from Osaka, Japan, but originally Osaka, Japan, but I'm now based on Jakarta. It's already 5 years. So sudah 5 tahun, jadi bahasa juga lebih lancar. Terima kasih. Jadi, so we provide system integration services in Indonesia. So I think Indonesia also presents unique opportunity for discussing circular economy because growing IT industry, and due to require for policies about circular economy. So I think technology and innovation can leverage for promoting circular economy practices. So we started offering such services that promoting and enable CO2 and power visibility. I think this is very feasible and relevant for our business. So yeah, so that is our business. So yeah, very exciting for discussing about circular economy for you guys. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Andre.
Hi, I'm Andre. I'm from Oracle, MySQL, okay? As a vendor, I would like to share from a vendor's perspective and, how can we contribute to this and how can we, help in terms of the circular economy and, reduce the wastage and also climate changes. So that will be the aspect or angle that I'll be coming in. Okay?
Okay, thank you. So let me kick off the session with an understanding from, to set the level from all of you, the notion of what a circular economy is. So we all know of nature being the best circular economy orchestrator. A tree that grows from a seed, when the tree reaches full maturity, it has leaves, it's got flowers, it may have fruits. These fruits get consumed, the leaves fall off, goes back to the ground, the leaves decompose, it becomes nutrient for the tree, for other plants, for other parts in the ecosystem. So that's an example of nature doing the circular economy, and has been the nature of what has happened on Earth for billions of years. Humans come along the way. About 200 years ago, we started taking some of this stuff from nature, and we never figured out how to complete the cycle, to bring the stuff we take from the ground, we take from our resources, and we create products and services, and it stops there. So what I would like to hear from all of you is how can we, especially the tech industry, and that's why I highlighted the phone as an example. We have all of these things. What do you think you could possibly take as an action item for your organization, and also perhaps for our members of the audience, that we can do in the next 6 months that actually make a difference? Small difference, but it's an important difference to make. So perhaps I will start with Shankar, if you have some opinions on that. How can we, what concrete actions can we take?
Yeah, so interesting point you raised. One of the macro viewpoint which I have as an opinion actually, the whole change which happened when humans started consuming, right? Now, over the last 50 years, or rather 20 years ago, you probably wouldn't get a Japanese sushi in Singapore. Now you get the same sushis everywhere, right? Its consumption has gone up, so demand goes, and then that's what leads to wastage. From our company perspective, how we are simple, basic steps which our customers are taking, and it has a lead-on effect. So we serve, as I mentioned earlier, an AI, conversational AI, and moving all into a communication with the end customers through multiple channels. Most of our customers, and especially financial services, are trying to cut in terms of 30% of their call center volumes. That means it's not effective. Consumers call the call centers. It's not effective. To cut that, the volume down by 30% and deflect it to an AI. So effectively, I don't know how it'll come to a circular economy as such, but it has an impending effect. That means you have lesser, more system taking care of, AI is taking care of things, and you have less people operating and managing things. That's something which we are doing currently in the next 6 months or next a year, where our customers are trying to cut down on operational expenses, which leads to most of the wastage eventually, I guess.
So if I take your point about that and talking about CO2 and stuff like that, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you said we are taking a small step which will have a big impact.
So that brings me to Yoshida-san. You were talking about CO2, managing CO2 that is being released in the services that people are consuming. How do you think that will fit into a circular economy? Because is that something that we would call greenwashing for that perspective? Is it greenwashing, or is it really going to make an impact? Would you have something to say?
Promoting circular economy through CO2 and power visibility is really relevant. And so it's just example. So scale the weight before diet. So we can provide services that promote or check the total volume of CO2 emission. So they can check the current situation. And after that, the companies can set the goal and the target. So as a first step, we provide the entrance of carbon neutrality. So this is our approach. It's a long journey to our last goal. It's maybe 2030 or 2050, depends on public or private. But if customers and the corporate doesn't face the carbon neutrality, they might be excluded from the market. So that is the current situation. So we recommend our client, so please check first the scale of our carbon emission first. So this is our approach, and yeah.
So maybe then I can ask Juan, because you are in the tech recycling business, right? So how could that CO2 portion manage in terms of from a circular economy perspective?
The biggest user of hardware in the Philippines is the BPO call center industry. So they have quite a million or two PCs installed. At the end of their economic life, which is usually 3 to 5 years, depending on the refreshment cycle, we actually help them repurpose the machine. Depending on the end user, some would require that the hard drive have to be physically destroyed for security, but the rest of it can be recycled. So we work with a recycling company to get the precious metals for other purpose. The other option is that we look for NGOs, schools in depressed area, and repurpose this machine to those schools or NGOs. I also like to talk about the Planet program of HP. We have been a partner of HP for the last 33 years. HP has a Planet program wherein they collect the used ink cartridges and toner cartridges for recycling. To date, 80% of all HP ink cartridges contain recycled plastic. 100% of toner cartridges are made from hangers, plastic bottles, ocean-bound plastic. That's what they do. So you just have to call a certain number, and they come and pick them up for free for recycling. Of course, there's a minimum quantity required. The higher-end models of HP notebooks also contain 90% for the plastic, magnesium, recycled material. So they're really at the forefront of the circular economy in this aspect.
So Kate, maybe do you have something to add from IDC, your perspective from the recycling that is being done in the Philippines?
Actually, I totally agree with the way that the Philippines do, and actually we have done quite a similar thing over the last year in terms of manage the life cycle of the device. And after 3 to 5 years, when the organization want to improve their system, then we will help them to actually take that, and we work with the National Youth Organization. We want to know what is the actual demand for the schools in a very far away area. They actually don't have any lab, any PC, any devices in their school. So we actually support them to get, as a distributor, we get the machines back. We actually renovate them, and we help the school to have their own lab. And it's very far away, I think, in a very difficult areas that actually the school doesn't have any PC at the moment, and we help them. And I think it's worked very well in Vietnam as the way that we used to help prolong the life cycle of the device in that way. And I think it's a very good for the society and for the environment.
You did mention earlier when you were talking about CSR as a means to do it. So my question to anyone in the panel, is CSR a way to encourage circular economy practices? Or should this be something that is not CSR, it should be what we should be doing anyway, whether it is CSR or not? In other words, I don't have to be rewarded to do the good job, so just do it. So what do you think? I mean, Somchai, maybe you have something to add.
Yeah, I think in this area, of course, CSR will help, but I think the most helpful is compliance, regulation, or even the law, which I think UN has done a good job of, making probably about 200 countries to participate in agreement. I think it's called Paris agreements. So I think we will start to see that each government will come out with all kind of things. In Thailand, SEC, I think listed company will face the worst nightmare, because usually when they want to do something, SEC will ask the listed company to do it first. So starting this year, all listed company has to disclose how much energy you are using. Energy is one thing, like electricity, but they also ask us to disclose how much water we are using, but we are not manufacturing. So I think my team contact SEC back, can you waive this water, because we don't really consume a lot of water. They said no. They said we flush the toilet. So we have 1,000 staff flushing the toilet, and it's give me a headache, on how to reduce the flushing toilet water. So I still haven't a good idea. Maybe we flush once a day. We accumulate it. But yeah, if you ask me, I think regulations, rules, those things will really help, and you will not surprise because of this. And Thailand is a bit slow in this. Many other countries, they already do this. So the first round is for direct, which means how much we consume, how much we generate the CO2. But the next round, SEC said maybe next 1 or 2 years, we have to report the indirect as well. So when it's come to indirect, oh, it's a nightmare. Because we need to know, let's say if we buy something from some vendor, they have to give us the carbon footprint. Because we have to report that as well, that we are part of the problem. Or the logistic, the transportation we use, if we use FedEx, if we use DHL, we need to get the information from them. That the service we use, how much we generate this. And then how to reduce this. So these are quite serious things now.
Maybe before I pass the question on to Andre, I just want to say, I think flushing the toilet is a completely circular economy. Whatever you put inside there goes back into the system and comes back to you. So we are already doing some of those things anyway in the toilets, right? So I think that part is fine. But I guess it's one of accounting for the expenses of the power consumption and all that, it's a different, but I think flushing toilet is a perfectly circular economy. That's not a problem. So Andre, I think based on what Somchai was saying, the question about how do you make this accountable? So from a software vendor perspective, where do you see the tools and services your organization provides can help address the accountability perspective in terms of what is being consumed and so on? Do you have any opinion on that?
I think from a vendor perspective, there's many can be done. And technology actually helps it, but technology also can break it. If you really look at it, for example, I'm from MySQL. I do database. So if you're doing a large transaction or query everything, and it takes hours and hours and hours to calculate and analyze, what does it mean? It consumes more, contributes to climate change, right? And it also reduces the chances of recycling the hardware, because it's not easy to recycle hardware, correct? Everyone is only talking about recycling the precious metal because it's worth the money. But nobody is recycling or spending time on recycling plastics or silicon or glass because it's too cheap to produce. So from a vendor perspective, many can be done. And corporate responsibility is one thing. The way how we look in our productions and how we commit to recycling it is important. I'll give you an example. If you look at the BMW, okay, they are coming out new platforms for electronic vehicle, correct? And you will notice that they actually share their CSR. What we are doing in BMW is whenever we produce the car, we tell you how many percentage of the car is being recycled. Produced from recycled aluminum, produced from, synthetic leather, which is recycled, the engine parts, how can you use it? Instead of the normal industrial standard of 5 years, now it can last for 15 years, so that you don't need to change your car so often, don't need to replace your battery so often. New technologies, we all know about electric car, right? I think in Thailand, in Indonesia, everyone is rushing for it because it's, petrol is expensive nowadays. So the new technology now is hydrogen. And China just launched a new battery that uses nitrate, which means salt, not precious metal, not lithium. So these are the new things that a vendor can contribute. New technology can hurt, but new technology also can heal. Okay, that's my point.
Thank you. I think that brings me to Shankar. You were talking earlier when we were discussing, you talked about AI to help do some of these things.
Yeah.
In some sense, right? So what do you think? How do you think?
So let me give you some examples, right? So let's take a farmer. A farmer has his, and we do some services for small businesses as well. He wants to sell something. So he has to transport something, make an order. So, and finally has this good sold, which has to go to a shop, which and the entire economic cycle is initiated from the farm. Now what we have done, and where we play a role as SculptShop, is we are managing all the commerce on WhatsApp. So a farmer with a small phone is able to start selling his goods. A small merchant is able to buy these goods and sell to the end customers. So we play a small role in that entire circular economy. Where AI comes in is for especially a lot of enterprise businesses, which is trying to automate a lot of these services. When you automate a lot of these services, they are able to reach a further wider audience. Processing is much faster. It uses less human resource, which leads to not having hundreds of people coming to the office in a motorcycle, which leads to consumption issues. So there's a shift which is happening. There's this transformational shift which is happening where AI is being used for multiple verticals. I mean, I was recently reading an article where how AI is changing the entire cycle of recycled clothes, fashion industry. You know, there's a lot of wastage in the fashion industry. There's piles and piles of unused clothes which are lying somewhere. There are companies which have been formed wherein they're using AIs to match buyers and sellers and the goods and see if they can be recycled and sold again, right? So there are several examples of AI being used in agriculture specifically. AI is being used to map the humongous data which they have in terms of weather patterns as well as the land and the soil and what crops to grow, right? Which effectively leads on to better optimized growth, which reduces a lot of other wastage. So if you look at from the circular economy, there are few things, right? There's consumption, there's wastage. If we can have that wastage recycled to a consumption, we would have succeeded. But in between all this comes the demand and supply and economics.
Okay.
Right? So that's how we see it. And from our perspective, we see AI is going to be optimizing a lot of stuff if it is used well. In fact, it is being utilized in every transformational industry at this point in time. Few comments I have to make on the software side is if we can do recycling if the old products can be still probably utilized because the softwares don't work.
So I mean, from my point of view, software, if it is open source software, I can repurpose the code. If it's proprietary, it's not going to happen.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So if you have an old phone, if you want to still use it, it won't work.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the things that I think the theme that we have here is the ability to recycle, and that is a portion, that's a key aspect for the circular economy. Now, when we talk about hardware in this case, how many of your phones here, talking back to our phones, have you actually been able to open up to look inside? None. Nobody. None of us can open the phone to look inside. Why? Because it's not designed firstly, it's not designed for repair. And secondly, therefore, there's no recyclable capability built in. So you have to have dedicated resources to do that kind of stuff. So if we as an industry can find ways to make sure that our vendors, some of you are vendors, your design engineers, to design the products for recyclability, like just like the cars. You know, the cars, as Andre was mentioning, BMW, they say how much of the car that's coming out came from recycled parts. Question then is, when the car goes onto the road, 5 years later, 10 years later, how much of those can be recycled at some point? So do you design recyclability into the product as it goes out? So that's a question for all of you. So what do you think? Do you think that has...
So I have a point.
Okay, go ahead.
But before the recyclability is the wastage, right?
Yeah.
So if you, to give you an example, in EV cars in China, there's tons of wastage, and it's just lying there. Nobody can buy it. Nobody can recycle it.
So and why is it that they can't recycle it? I mean, if they can...
It's a legal issue, right? So it's similarly within the fashion industry, right? People make clothes which they want you to buy again and again. So it's a demand cycle and creation of consumption cycle.
So is that a problem with the capitalism as a system?
So that's where
that's better
coming
part of
to
the problem,
point
right?
of the sushi which I mentioned earlier, right? So if let's say if I'm in Bali and I use all the materials in Bali to build it, so I have created an economy. But what's happening is you're getting materials from Italy here, and the demand is great for those tiles. What happens? I mean, you are increasing the cross-border economy, the global economy, right? But maybe the local economy doesn't do well, or there's wastages, right? So I think it's capitalism is an interesting subject to debate on.
Well,
but,
I would say the capitalism is the root cause of all of these issues, right?
Exactly.
But at the same time, recognizing it, and then how can we mitigate that?
we got to innovate.
We got to innovate. We got to innovate.
Singapore has done a great job, right? That the flushing.
Flushing.
We have a new water, right? Which was done.
Well, what he's mentioning is in Singapore we have water recycling, which is basically all the sewage and everything else goes into a water recovery system, and that water is called, after that it's called cleaned up, it's called new water. And one interesting fact, if you don't know about this particular thing, the new water that is available, we have in Singapore foundries that make semiconductor chips and so on. The new water is provided to the foundries. But there is a problem that the water that is provided to the foundries require very, very clean water. However, this water that is being provided, the new water that is recycled water, is way too clean for the foundries. They have to add impurities into the water before they can use it in the foundry. So that's an interesting recycling of or the circular economy perspective. But there's a cost issue to it. The cost of recycling it, and the reverse osmosis and all those issues, right? Exactly. So there are multiple parts to the story. But I think the key thing here is the idea of how can we get the economic system that we are in, the capitalist system, how can that help foster a circular economy? I think, Somchai, you had something to say.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, the water recycling, I think Thailand is still far behind, and Singapore is one of the top countries. The recycle, as you mentioned, the toilet water, and coming back as a drinking water.
Yeah.
So I have to think twice when I visit Singapore.
Some of the water in Singapore comes from Malaysia, so I guess thanks to Andre for supplying water to Singapore as well.
Yeah, but for the recycling, I think EV, as you mentioned, we start to discuss on because Thailand just start promoting the EV. I think every new car, if it is EV, if you buy the EV car, government will subsidize $5,000 US. Quite a good money. So EV become very popular soon. But as we all know, the battery from the EV, it will be a big problem in the future once the capacity dropping. What I learned is that probably when it's dropped down to, 70 or 60 or 50%, they will not use it for a car anymore. But it's still good for energy storage.
Yeah.
So they're thinking of using after the car, maybe we bring it and then use it as energy storage. And energy is a big issue in Thailand because I think more than 80% of electricity in Thailand are from fossil. So we generate a ton of CO2 every year. And so we will have a new government very soon. We already passed the election, but haven't formed yet. So very interesting because the majority party that people vote may not be a ruling party. We still don't know yet. But anyway, every government, they claim that they will do something about promoting the renewable energy, especially from solar. So solar business is growing rapidly in Thailand. And I think in many countries as well. Let me do a very quick survey on if you already installed the solar, either on your house or the company, please raise your hand if you already do that.
I don't see anybody.
Oh, not a lot. Okay. But soon, because we start to get into this business, we start to import a lot of components, a lot of products. The ROI is getting shorter and shorter because the productivity of the solar panel is improved every year, 10 to 20%. So now in Thailand, because probably the electricity fee is very high, the ROI is allowed 2 years now.
Oh.
So if you install the solar roof within 2 years, it's break even. And after that, you will enjoy because solar is still 10, 20 years. Yeah. So I think, yeah.
All right, so what I'd like to do now is to throw open to the audience, to all of you, any questions, comments, observations. There is a microphone somewhere. And so if you have, please raise your hands. Post it to the panelists. Don't post it to me. Let them answer it. I have no answers. Let me see. Is there somebody there?
There's somebody there.
Okay, there you go.
My name is Dhananjay and I'm from Senquire. We are an artificial intelligence driven vision analytics company. So just wanted to share my experience. So the topic which the esteemed panel is discussing is circular economy. We are working on a circular process within manufacturing units. What that means is that we use artificial intelligence to do the quality inspection, and then with a closed loop, we are doing the analytics using machine learning for the process parameters. So typically there would be 20-25 process parameters which impact the quality, and any variation in those process parameters will result in poor quality or rejects, right? Okay. Our experience, however, has been that the understanding and adoption of this kind of a closed loop, kind of an autonomous manufacturing has not been still very much there. It's not so openly accepted, mainly because of questions regarding, hey, will this really work, kind of thing. But there are also more kind of technology-oriented companies who want to try this. And so I think the challenge is going to be, how do we get more of the companies, manufacturing units, really to adopt this kind of an autonomous manufacturing technology? Because the more you waste through rejection, even if you recycle the raw material, you're still consuming energy, you're still consuming electricity, and you're wasting capacity. So that concept. Did you have a
question? Did you have a question for that?
That concept is my question, I'm sharing this because we need to understand how to increase the adoption of this kind of circular mentality, whether it is in the economy or whether it is in your manufacturing plant.
Okay.
It's an opinion, right?
It's an opinion, yeah. Okay. More like an opinion, which is fine.
I mean, I can add to that. I mean, I'm not an expert in that manufacturing side, but I can give you my opinion. Essentially, see, I think we, the world is in a transformational age, right? AI is kicking in. So any shift which happens in a transformation, technology transformation, you will start seeing value as it moves, because AI is moving fast, it's developing really fast. Somebody predicts a singularity by 2045. We don't know how it's going to be. It's defining a new economy as well, completely, and it's permeating into every possible industry, if you can see. So the transformation is happening. Is it going to be a 5-year cycle transformation or a 2-year cycle? We don't know, but I predict that we're going to see a lot of change in terms of how we consume and how we see things in the coming decade. Because AI is going to drive a lot of things. It's going to bring a lot more value, and that's how I see it. That's my opinion.
Can I just make one observation here? The notion, when we use the term AI, I prefer to qualify it by saying artificial narrow intelligence, narrow meaning specific to that particular domain or use case. We're not talking about general AGI. So I assume, when you talk about your AI, it's ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, specific to that particular domain. You cannot generalize it in that sense.
Absolutely. So okay. if you look at a Tesla car, it can't do banking transactions today. AI on a Tesla is fantastic.
I think Tesla will say, I want to do online translation. Okay. Questions? Yes, please. Yeah.
Selamat siang, Om Swastiastu. Perkenalkan, nama saya Brenda Regina Hansen. I'm coming from Indonesia. We built digital center around Indonesia. We targeting 20 digital center to empowering Indonesia city in Indonesia. So I'm interested with the Gates value, enabling growth in Asia, leadership capabilities and experience. My question to the speaker is, we know that technology is very fast. We create technology, new products, something like that. But how you see the disruption of evolution of human in technology? Because we see that all of you talking about the AI, device, technology, but the core value of technology itself is human, right? We forgot how we can build the Indonesian or the Asia resource in technology. Yeah, so what your perspective about collaboration? Because I see all the company tech is compete, but there's no collaboration itself. But how you see all the Asia country can collaborate to build the new disruption of evolution? Thank you.
Okay, just to make sure that I understood your question, how do we collaborate across the nations in making sure that we can achieve the circular economy? Okay, we've got 15 seconds. Anybody?
I thought I'm not a government person, so I think, okay, so I think from my perspective, a lot of initiatives happening on the government side because it's, but as an individual, I don't have an answer for this, right? Because we have to try in a small bits okay. Away. That's what it consume and not waste as much as possible from your own perspective. That's how I will look at it.
Samchai, got Ed?
Yeah, I think the new technologies, as we all know, AI especially, is going to change a lot of things. I have been asked for this question many times. The answer I give is very lucky that I am about to retire.
So it's the next generation's problem, is that right?
But it will be a big problem.
It is.
So we need to adapt, we need to change, we need to, I really worry about things that is going to happen. Yeah, no answer.
So I know it's a no answer and that's not the answer you wanted, but that's the best we can have. So we are actually out of time right now. So with that, I just want to make, even though we're out of time, can I just get so I'll start from Andre. Final words for the session, what your observation, and let me put it to all of you. I didn't mention this earlier. What is the one thing that you will change to help with the circular economy? I want you to be able to tell me that. I give you some time to think about it. We will check back in 6 months' time whether you actually did it. Right, Ashish, that next event. So let's start from Andre and we end up this way. Go ahead.
I hope it started there, then I got time to think, right? So I'll incorporate my answer to the last question as well. I think how can ASEAN can collaborate from a country level? It's hard. I'll be very frank with you. We all know. The key thing here is all about cost and profit, correct? One technology needs to emerge from one country or one company first. Then after that, they can collaborate or so-called license the technology. So, and then because each country have different resources, different skill sets, everything, that's where they group together and form a coalition or ASEAN, for example. That's where the collaboration comes from. Because at the country level, they will bring those technologies and companies and collaborate and put them together. That's where your answer is, okay? If you ask me for the next 6 months, what can I do? I mean, visit my booth. I can only talk about myself. I'm representing my SQL. My solutions runs and, every new versions that comes out, actually, if you upgrade to the latest version on the same hardware, and you will see performance gain. And that reduces footprint, that reduces upgrade, that reduces wastage. And what does it mean for you? It means more profit, more services, but less technical issues. You don't need to pray to the God when upgrade, no blue screen, no nothing. You know what I mean? So that's where I can do, for my part, for my technology, as a small contributor to this kind of economy. Okay? Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Andre.
Yep.
Yoshida-san.
In terms of circular economy, so there are several challenges. So like limited awareness or inadequate infrastructure and policy making by government. So yeah, we can address these problems by education or awareness campaigns or investment for recycling infrastructure and the cooperation between private and public sector. So now, for me, I'm talking with Japanese government how enhance circular economy and carbon neutrality in Southeast Asia, because this is gonna be our new big opportunity. So this might be new business stream, revenue stream for companies. So, but it's like chicken or egg, like AI analytics. We need data, but so we propose to the customer, so customer need some advantage by AI, but it's like chicken or egg. So we start the discussion from public, and so we start some POC or some project first, and so we make some experience, and then we can propose our wide clients. Yeah, that's our plan. So that is our commitment, like, yeah.
All right, thank you, Yoshida-san. Juan?
I can only speak for myself. I will stop patronizing companies that manufacture equipment with built-in obsolescence, that refuse to sell third-party repair center their spare parts, company that release OS that will make your current devices slow down and force you to buy new ones. So stop patronizing them.
I'll add my stop to you too. Thank you. Kate.
Hi, I think the very important point that I think will go is the perception and action now. I want three very important parties that is involved in this process. First is the government. I think they need to put regulations into circular economy and a real action into it. Second, I think is the organization, is the company. They have to have a real CSR activities and policy in place. They have to become their own IEI factory into this process. And third, I think is people. People need to have a real action into the mindset of recycling, helping the mother of earth. Is my final thought.
Thank you. Somchai?
Yeah, I'll refer to the last question about technologies. What I can think of now, which I try to encourage my staff to do, is to figure out how to use AI for your job, because now there are many tools available now. So people who use AI in their daily work will perform much better than people who don't use. I think that's what I can tell. It can also use to translate. You know, in Thailand, we use Thai language. So few of my staff, they start using ChatGPT to translate Thai to English, English to Thai, and they do a perfect job of doing that. Unbelievable, much better than the previous tool from Google Translation. This one is much better. Yeah. So that is just one area. I put the topic as how to use AI in your daily job. Every employee, they start to come out with many new things to use the AI in various tools. And I think it's very useful. People can learn from each other. Yeah. As for what we should do, as I mentioned, our company, we don't really, I don't really think we consume a lot of energy. So I try to help indirectly by getting into this business. And we bring in a lot of renewable energy things. So to help the country to change the ratio of the green energy versus fossil energy. That's what we try to do. And yeah, I encourage every one of us to looking for the rooftop, the solar. It is very cost effective now, and it gives you a very short ROI now. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Shankar?
What I would like to see in the next 6 months.
What are you going to promise to?
My promise, consume less.
Consume less?
Not upgrade.
Not upgrade?
Upgrade the phones and stuff like that. And hopefully get paid not to waste.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this, if I can achieve these two, that'll be great.
All right, so maybe my part will be, I've been using my same laptop for 7 years. I'm very happy with it. Why? Because I use an operating system that is 100% open. Nothing in it is going to slow anything down for me. So I'm perfectly fine. I will continue doing this with the same machine. There is really no need to change. I'm happy with it. So that is what I'm going to do, and I encourage others to think about it as well. Don't keep upgrading for the sake of upgrading. Yes, it's a capitalist problem, but I think we can do something about it. So with that, thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much, audience, and I hope this was a useful session. Thank you. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask all of our panelists just to remain on the stage for a moment. Ashish, if you would join us on stage, we want to snap a few pictures before we release everyone and start the one-on-one meetings. For the rest of us here, it's the conclusion of the conference this morning. We're now going to make our way out to the exhibition area for the start of the one-on-one meetings. One more time, I remind you, if you need any support or assistance to make these connections, you want some introductions, don't hesitate to reach out to the GATE staff. Don't hesitate to go to the help desk. That's what they're here to do. Okay, for the rest of you, a reminder that we have the workshops running this afternoon from 2:30 until 3:30. That is the BPE, and 3:30 to 4:30, that is EG Innovations. Okay, so you can make your way now to the one-on-one meetings. Thank you for your participation. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you tonight at the gala dinner. Thank you.